This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Today's episode of the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast is brought to you by The Athletic. Premium coverage for passionate Detroit sports fans. Listeners of this podcast can save 30% off the first year of an annual subscription. You heard me correct. You can save 30% off the first year of a subscription by going and visiting theathletic.com/DSP. Don't miss out on great in-depth features. They just had a great recap of the Big Ten Media Days. What does it mean for Michigan? What do we learn about Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, Michigan State? Don't miss out. All the hosts here on the network, we read The Athletic every single day. Check out theathletic.com/DSP. Become a subscriber. Don't miss out, and you could even save 30% off.
Oh my God!
Welcome, everybody, to the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 40. Today, we've got a ton of news for you. We've got a big name signing with WWE. We've got I don't know if he's an indie star, but we've got a guy who's working a monstrous match with a broken bone. Ooh. And a guy from the way back, he's got a little bit of a drinking problem. We're going to tell you all about that during the news and notes section. Of course, we're going to review Raw and Smackdown, and doing it with me, as always, he's my homie. He's my partner. I can't wait to hear what he's got cooked up today. He is the Doc, John Macaroon.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here, I'm the man. Woo!
Styling, profiling, limousine riding, DOC in the building, ready to talk wrestling. Holy cow, man. Really interesting swing of emotions when we talk about the two shows. I know we don't want to bury the lead here, but I watched Raw, I watched SmackDown. If anybody watched it, you know what we're thinking. It's not a situation in which I'm happy with one of the shows. I can't wait to talk about it. But let me tell you this. It seems like there's two distinct things going on with WWE. They got one side of the coin where it seems like everything is a big cluster F. And then you got the other side where things are just seemingly flowing into what everybody wants. And it doesn't make any sense because of the fact that it seems like all you have to do is really just kind of go with what you have been going with instead of changing things up. I don't understand some of the moves that were made on Raw, and I just want to go right to the point. To have Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar headline SummerSlam is an absolute disgrace. It ruins the vibe of any show. I don't want to see it. We're talking about what chants are going to happen. I'm shocked. Mikey from Breaking Down the Ring podcast is like, dude, Roman Reigns is having great matches. Let's just cheer him on. Yeah, he's having good matches, but I don't want to see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And so, by all accounts, there's no real intrigue going on because everybody thinks that Roman Reigns is going to defeat Brock, and then Braun Strowman's going to come in and win. And that's kind of what's going on. Either or, if you have Roman Reigns walk away and he's the star at SummerSlam, I'm pissed off. I don't want him having the Universal title. If you have Braun Strowman, that ruins the surprise. I'm like, I was telling my wife, I'm like, really? The entire card of SmackDown with what they're going to produce at SummerSlam, I'm intrigued by.
Right.
Everything on Raw is just a big cluster F, and I don't get it because you have some feuds that were about to kick off, and then you went backwards, and you're like, wait a minute, weren't they just supposed to be feuding? Now they're together, and you're like, okay. And then you got a guy that you should be elevating in Bobby Lashley, and that's a guy that you kind of have given promos to, you've given time to, only to get squashed down by Roman Reigns. Why? It makes no sense. It's infuriating. It makes me really say, you know what? For the Raw portion of SummerSlam, I might just skip it.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's rough.
It's really bad. And you're right. Bobby Lashley is a guy who you brought in. He's a big guy.
It's new.
This is the thing, right? Bobby Lashley was brought in, and the one match he wanted was against Brock Lesnar. And you've got two MMA guys because Bobby Lashley's done Bellator. He's done a ton of different other wrestling organizations. Bobby Lashley is good. You need to push him.
Why would he accept this?
You need to set him up against Brock Lesnar. I think that's a much more intriguing, interesting matchup. On top of it, you've got the whole MMA element to it. And look, Brock Lesnar is going to UFC. We all know it. It's happening.
He's dropping the belt.
It's cool, right? He's getting ready to make his exit so he can go train to fight. So why not have
a fresh match?
Right. Something different. Something that we haven't seen. I mean, how many times have we seen Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar? Well, at least 4.
Can they have another good match? I mean, Roman's been having better matches. I mean,
I think Roman Reigns is very good in the ring. I don't think Brock Lesnar is very good in the ring because Brock Lesnar doesn't want to be very good in the ring.
Right.
He does as little as possible to get over, and that's it.
And here's the thing. Let's just say that the story goes well. There's great promos. There's vignettes. They do things differently. Mm-hmm. They don't have the contract signing. They don't have the pull-aparts. They don't do the same thing that they've always done to hype this feud. It'll be interesting to see how they reintroduce this feud to everybody wherein lies that nobody really wants to see it. But going into it, if an idiot like me knows that the fans are going to crap all over this match, doesn't anybody in WWE care that, in essence, a marquee matchup could be the last match at SummerSlam at the Barclays Center? After all these guys have put in good work, you got Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and they're going to shit all over it. They're just going to chant. They might be chanting stupid stuff. They might be cussing. They might chant for wrestlers that don't wrestle. They might chant for CM Punk. They might do beach balls. They might do something even we've never even thought about. You had and don't discount the impact. Dolph Ziggler came out and said that when the fans did that, nonsense with cheering down the countdown clock, that messed him up. He didn't have the match that he thought he would have, and that's why that match came off as all cockeyed. Is the fans took it over and hijacked it. This match is going to be hijacked. And that's what everyone's going to do, and whether it's open or not, I don't see the fans getting behind this at all, unless it's a squash match. Yeah. Unless it's just Brock Lesnar shocks the world, he walks in, spears him, ends it in 2 minutes, and you just move on. It's filler, 4th match in.
Yeah, but
there's no other way. This match is getting shit on.
There's no, at some point this belt has to come off of him, right? And I understand what you're saying because you want to keep it interesting. You want to do something different. I think WWE is really trying to make up for Roman Reigns' coronation. Do you remember when Seth Rollins had the Money in the Bank contract and he cashed in on Roman Reigns?
Yeah.
So at some point they're trying to make up for that moment because Roman brought his entire family in. Like, he found out he was winning the belt, he brought his entire family in, and they were all sitting front row, only to have Roman Reigns win the belt and then lose the belt within, 30 seconds, a minute and a half?
Right.
So I think they're trying to make up for that. But what you're getting is Roman Reigns forced down your throat. And you're getting Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, again. And nobody wants to see this match. Like, nobody. You could go pull 100 people, and 99 and a half of them are going to say, I don't want to see this match.
I don't want to see it.
The other half is going to be like, I don't really care. I don't like wrestling. Okay, cool. I don't know why we're talking to you. You just messed up our poll. Yeah. Go away. But, yeah, I mean, look, so the main event, and that's kind of where we're going to start with Raw here. We're going to start right at the main event. Roman Reigns takes on Bobby Lashley to see who the number 1 contender is going to be. And this wasn't like we just seen this match a week ago. It wasn't as good as the match that they had at the pay-per-view.
Why?
It did finish strong. It just started a little bit wonky. And then in the end, nobody really likes the result. Like, you're upset about it. I'm annoyed about it.
Kills the show.
I think the rest of the WWE universe is just kind of like,
And the way Raw shook out, I mean, it's really simple. It had a couple A segments early on, and then a bunch of C stuff that nobody cared about, and then you finish with that. So it just killed the whole show.
Yeah.
I mean,
the show, I felt like the show was a little bit disjointed, and that seems to be the word that we throw around a lot for Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, we start Raw off with what turns out to be a self-aggrandizing promo by not just Vince McMahon, not just Triple H, but also Stephanie. Like, you have all 3 of them in the ring talking about how great they are and how they're like, oh, women and equal rights and all this is great.
Granted, they're the last of the party.
Right!
They're the last of the party.
Hey, we've been having awesome matches in every other wrestling industry but here.
And there's been all women pay-per-views before.
This is the one.
Impact just had one.
ROH does it all the time.
Yeah.
The women of ROH, they do it all the time.
Sure.
But this one right here,
it's going to be awesome.
This one gets all the pub, and everybody talks about how, we're moving women's rights forward because WWE wants to hold a women's wrestling event. The whole pay-per-view, it's all chicks on it.
Yeah.
Cool, bro. Everybody else has been doing it
since
like day one, and WWE is a little bit late to the party because they were too busy putting chicks in lingerie and having them wrestle in Jell-O.
I like their bravado because of the fact that they go with, if it didn't happen in WWE, it didn't happen.
I love how they rewrite history all the time.
Right, and all they'll do is just buy ROH and say, look, we've been pioneers, and then just highlight, put them all in the Hall of Fame.
Right, all of them. All of them. Every one of them. What did you make about the Kevin Owens worming his way into a Money in the Bank match against Braun Strowman?
I like it.
I think this sets up for something nice. Like, this is Kevin Owens. This is like that fight Owens fight type mentality. Comes out, cuts a good promo on Braun. Next thing you know, you see him in the back worming his way into this match against Braun Strowman at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Do you think that Kevin Owens should win the briefcase? Because let me make this case to you.
Win the briefcase, Kevin Owens.
Braun Strowman is so over right now. It doesn't matter if he has that briefcase or not. I think he looks stupid toting it around. And you know those WWE wrestlers, they have to take that everywhere with them. So when they go on a plane, that's his carry-on. when he rides in a train, that's sitting in his lap. Like, he looks so stupid carrying that dumb thing around. He doesn't need it. He really doesn't. He is good enough without it. He's so over. The WWE universe loves the guy as it is. I think Owens should win this briefcase and just kind of go on and be so dickish and just be the heel that he is.
Yes.
And just at some point he's got it. He'll be the one to take the strap off Reigns, because I think we're all predicting Reigns is going to win this.
Yes.
So I think Owens should win it.
It'd be nice, but I still see Braun Strowman, because you can't squash Braun Strowman. His trajectory has to be to win a title. You can't. What are you going to do with him? Continue to have tag team matches? What are you going to do with him?
This is the thing. You've seen how they set this up. It's basically a no holds barred match.
Yeah.
It's anything goes. As long as Braun gets pinned, Owens wins the briefcase.
Right.
So you seen how Baron von Corbin was like, oh, this is great. All buddy hugging on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was hugging on him. They were doing everything but making out. I could see him getting involved. I could see him playing a monster role in this. And then what I can see is Kurt Angle comes down to try to help Braun out and try to even things up. This is how you reinvigorate Kevin Owens as we're talking through this. So now you've got Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin, not at SummerSlam. This will probably take place on the next Monday night. So I think there's a way to kind of work this out to invigorate everybody and get Kevin Owens that little bit of a push that I think he might need, because I don't think Braun needs it at this point. I think he's that over. What did you make of the other good match on Monday night? Was Balor versus McIntyre. This turns into a tag team match.
Exactly. I didn't like that at all, because I felt like you discounted potentially a really good match.
It took everything away, right?
It's like, why do you have Balor and McIntyre when you could have had a feud down the road? It's like you went down that road, and then you go, okay, well, then we're going to transition that into a tag team match. It's like, oh my God. It was like, rolled my eyes. It was fine. Good wrestling. I like Drew McIntyre's promo backstage with Dolph Ziggler. Great work. But I just felt like, you know what? I didn't want to see it go down like that.
See, I think it was a good match to start, but there's no need to constantly do, the
follow-ups.
Hey, playa, let's have a tag team. Like, there's no need for any of that.
And you remember what I said regarding Kurt Angle? Now people in the national media and podcasts are saying it too. His character stale.
Yes.
One of the articles I read prominently on a feature website said, how do we reinvigorate a stale Kurt Angle character? And what do you do now? It's stale. His role is stupid. I don't like what's going on. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do?
He looks like he's been neutered.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's awful.
Exactly.
We both agree Raw was
terrible. Raw was terrible. The other segment that I just didn't like was, so now Bayley and Sasha are tag teams?
Dude, they're best friends. I don't understand
I get it.
I'm so frustrated
People are speculating they could be the first tag team women's champion if it goes down to Evolution. But I feel like you wasted...
What was the point of the last 6 months?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are we doing?
No payoff.
None whatsoever.
Stupid.
And it's like, honestly, you know what this is like? It's like playing Just the Tip. It really is, because just a tip and then you're out.
Yeah.
Just a tip and then you're out.
It's
just
like,
a tip. It's like... When do I finish? What's going on?
Exactly. Didn't you want them to kiss at that point?
Yes.
I was like, just kiss, hug, grab a booty grab, something.
Something.
Yeah.
Beat each other up. I need this to go one of two ways, right?
Yeah.
One of two ways. We're either going to the right where somebody's crushing somebody else's face, or we're going to the left where somebody's crushing somebody else's face with something else. Genitals.
Yeah.
That's where I need to be here.
Something along those lines.
Yes. Right? All right, so let's move on to SmackDown, because that was Raw and it was hot
SmackDown.
garbage.
Oh, thank gosh for SmackDown. Holy camole. What a show.
So we open up with Randy Orton cutting a promo talking about how he's been disrespected.
Yeah.
All right? You got to put some
disrespect.
Disrespect.
With a C and T.
That's right. So how did you like this? I thought this was good, man. I do like heel Randy Orton. I think he's so good.
Yeah. Heel Randy Orton, way to go. I like where they're going with it. Badass man. Probably in line for a title shot, hopefully with AJ Styles in the mix there, but another contender emerged for the title. I like the way they played it up. A lot of talk regarding James Ellsworth, his contract. It's pretty much well known, if you listen to the great podcast that Dennis Farrell does with him, that he's on a per date appearance. He doesn't have a contract. If he shows up, he gets paid. So during the week, people are all like shocked, like, oh my God, he's taking pictures on the weekend doing these indie shows. Yeah, because the man's marketable, he's taking advantage of the fact that he's getting paid good money to go around the world. He doesn't have a contract yet, and maybe he'll earn one, but at this point in time, hey, he's showing up. He's in the mix there. It was great to see, what they did with AJ Styles and introducing his next opponent. It will be Samoa Joe.
That's right.
And it's awesome. And then maybe there's going to be a Randy Orton in the mix down the road. But with Randy Orton, I feel like as long as he stays healthy, that's the biggest problem, is we talk about a lot of guys who get hurt and what their value is. It's an older guy. He's beaten up. He's been through the wars. You know what? For him, if there's a post, 6-month shakeup, go over to Raw. Go over to Raw would be something nice to see as a heel, kind of mix things up a little bit. Maybe even a feud with Drew McIntyre. I kind of would like to see some different feuds there. So I do think a good candidate to kind of make a shift if there's a little bit of a shakeup after SummerSlam is Randy Orton. Keep him heel. Let him just go over to Raw a little bit, mix it up a little bit with some of the likes of maybe a Baron Corbin and mix it up. I think that's the guy that is probably in line to kind of shift brands.
So we're both thumbs up on Ellsworth basically getting fired by Paige and Samoa Joe coming out and choking out AJ Styles, then signing the contract.
They're going to have good matches.
It's going to be great.
They have chemistry. They know each other. It's going to be fine.
If you've ever seen any of their TNA work,
you'll be impressed. It's going to be a good match. They're going to beat each other up, and they're going to go toe-to-toe. And AJ Styles can have any kind of match he wants with anybody, and it'll be fun. But in the end, I don't see Samoa Joe taking it down. I know maybe his second or third opportunity for a belt. He lost to Brock Lesnar on Raw.
If he wins it, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. But I don't see him being the guy to take the strap off AJ.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Before that took place, Cien Almas had a great match against Rusev. Like, this was awesome. It was a really, really good match.
Very solid.
Almas is getting a huge push. Do you like this? I think this is good for him.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure where you feature him on the card or who you feature him against. I thought last week the rub from AJ was good. This week the rub from Rusev is good. You just took out and you just wrestled the WWE champion. You lost in a close one. And then you just took out his most recent competitor on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view.
The next feud probably Shinsuke. U.S. title picture.
U.S. title?
Yeah, okay. That's the next trajectory.
I'm cool with that. I think that's good.
But he doesn't take it. I think that Shinsuke can get over. What you're doing is you're elevating a guy, and then Shinsuke can continue to get his rub by defeating a worthy opponent. I think that's what's happening with Almas, is that they're elevating him through these matches with guys that are over, only then to further elevate a made guy.
Okay.
And I think that made guy that he'll fall to and succumb to, his first title reign, his first opportunity at a title will probably be against Shinsuke. I think it'll be a good feud leading up until a major pay-per-view, and then Shinsuke will go forward.
Yeah, you know what? I like that. I think that's an awesome build. Becky Lynch gets a very good match out of Carmella. So I'm so
you were
for
impressed.
All of this. Like, I was enthralled with this match. I thought it was great, okay? Because Carmella has usually garbage matches. They're not very good. They're usually boring. I'm so interested in Becky Lynch, like, all the time. Like, I got a monster crush on her. I don't know why, I just do. I think she has some of the best matches in WWE. I think she's so good at what she does. The ability to be able to get a really good, interesting match out of Carmella is awesome. I can't wait to see what they do at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, very good match. Becky Lynch to be able to work with Carmella is an amazing experience. Good stuff there all the way around.
Absolutely. New Day beats Sanity, and then we get to basically end the matches for SmackDown. We get the Bar returning next week. They're going to be taking on the Usos. I love this. We were just talking about this a couple weeks ago. Where the hell's the Bar been? Where's the Bar? Where
they showed up?
We were looking under rocks. We were looking in caves. We couldn't find the Bar. Guess where the Bar is? They showed up on SmackDown.
Yes.
This is going to be good. I'm interested. They look reinvigorated. They look like they're ready to go. The crowd was ready for them. They popped. It's going to be awesome.
What do you think is best for them, for the Bar?
What do I think is best for them?
Yeah, where should they go? Who should they feud with? Anybody that you want to feud with?
I think they need to take the belts off of the Bludgeon Brothers.
Ooh.
I think you have them win their way through this tag tournament, and they take the belts off the Bludgeon Brothers. Then you start a feud between those guys, and I can see you giving the Bar a prolonged run with the belts. You know, I think they're good, man. I miss them. This is the one good thing about what WWE just did with these guys, right? I can't miss you unless you leave. It's one of my favorite quotes by Jim Cornette. All right, I can't miss you unless you leave. They took the Bar off TV for what seemed like 2 months, 3 months.
Seemed like forever, right?
Yeah, Honestly, it felt like it. And then they return on Tuesday night, and I was like, oh my God, the Bar, they're back. This is great. This is awesome. I was pumped for it. I thought it was great. So to be able to give guys a few days off, give them like weeks off, it's really good. I think Roman Reigns' character could learn a thing or two from what they did with the Bar. What did you make of The Miz basically beating down Daniel Bryan? This is setting up for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
This is what the SummerSlam match is going to be. I wish we had a little bit longer of a build for it.
Basically, it was a promo used to set up the premiere of Miz TV, Miz and Mrs. It was good. I liked the fact that he came out there. I really liked. It took me a minute to realize that Daniel Bryan messed with the promo videos. It was fun. It was all of Miz's. If you get a chance to see it, they go back and Miz and Maurice are in the ring, and the Miz is all excited trying to promote his stuff, and they go to okay, thank you guys for coming. Here's my baby. He's got this pretend baby. Obviously, he didn't bring a baby to the ring. And he goes, okay, you guys are lucky in that you get a chance to see, and you're the first to see some premiere highlights of my new reality show. And it goes back, and all of a sudden it's starting to show a bunch of bloopers. It's starting to show a bunch of times where Miz is getting crushed through a table. It's starting to be shown a bunch of times where he gets popped in the face by a bunch of different athletes. And it was really funny. And it was called Miz and Mrs. MISSES. And then you see Daniel Bryan come out, and he was the one behind it. And then I like the way where Miz got over. He pretends to throw the baby at Daniel Bryan. He gets into the ring, Daniel Bryan does, and then he gets the skull-crushing finisher, and that's how you end SmackDown. Great way to set up the feud. Obviously, these guys are going to fight each other. Obviously, everybody wants to see these guys get down. It's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be good, too. This has all the potential and all the makings to be an incredible match at SummerSlam. I'm looking forward to, like you said, everything that SmackDown is doing, I'm totally looking forward to it. Everything, I think SmackDown's been great. Yes. Did you catch any of Miz and Mrs.? Half-hour reality show. Me and the wife watched it. Starting to talk about their move, talking about their upcoming baby. Did you see when the Miz showed up naked? That was funny. That was so funny. That was one of the funniest segments because what happened was... He was like, what? Yeah, because he looked. He grabbed his crotch. It's funny because it's cool to see celebrities or people that we watch have real life problems that we have. Yeah. So he's trying to call his wife, and they have a photo shoot, and his wife's trying to talk to him, but he's just off of a plane. When were you taking naked pictures? Right. He's like, right. No. The thing is that he's getting a message from his wife about this fake nude photo, and he misses the word because a couple words get messed up because of the phone. The part that is relatable is the fact that he had a bad phone signal. Yes. So he's like, wait, so he's thinking that he's showing up to a nude photo shoot. I was like, does he have Sprint? Yeah, exactly, right? What's going on? So he shows up there, and his wife has already been there in L.A. He's flying in on a Wednesday because everyone knows that Wednesday's the only day that basically WWE doesn't work. They work every day but Wednesday. Mm-hmm. That's the office day where they kind of go over the terrible writing that they're going to do for the rest of the week. And so he shows up and he's like, okay, there's no towels here, and he just shows up, wang out, and everyone's like, ah! It was so funny to see the photographer's face. Exactly, and good stuff there. It was fun. All right, so we both are in agreement. SmackDown won. SmackDown is on point. And we're both thumbs up for Miz and the Misses. You got it. And then you want some news and notes. Hit me with this week's news and notes. What's happening this week? I did say we had a lot. I totally lied. It's okay. Not a ton. Just some real interesting things going on. So the word is Matt Riddle, and if you don't know who he is, he's one of the best indie stars on the scene. He's a former MMA guy. He lost a lot of his matches due to smoking weed. When his test came back, he had failed all of them. But he's incredible. As a wrestler, this dude is incredible. He's awesome, man. I'll show you a picture of him. This dude's got abs on abs on abs. It's crazy. He's in such good shape. He's awesome in the ring, cuts a great promo. He's awesome. WWE poached him. WWE's got him now. Nice. So it'll be cool to see him work in NXT and then make his way up the ranks here. And one day we'll see him on Raw and SmackDown, and then we'll talk about how they're underutilizing him and how it all sucks. Kenny Omega, one of the best in the world. He's working the G1 Climax with a broken heel. You say Climax? I did say Climax. That's what it is. The G1 Climax. He's working that event. Well, you see, you got me all stumbling over here. He's working that event with a broken heel. According to Dave Meltzer, it's a small break in the back of his heel. He's able to work through it. Of course, he's in some pain because it is broken. Just time's going to heal it, and he doesn't have any time to take off right now. Do you remember
Grandmaster Sexay?
I do.
You do. You do. All right. So, Brian Lawler was arrested back on July 7th for a DUI and evading arrest. The officers noticed his car was speeding and swerving at around 1 a.m. They attempted to pull him over. Lawler did not stop his car, and the officers believed that he was trying to make it home. This is all according to TMZ. So his bail was set at reportedly $40,000. He has posted bail. Lawler was also arrested on June 5th after failing to pay for a hotel room. So this is a former WWE guy who has fallen on some rough times. I see him making usage of the
program.
Yeah, the sobriety program that they have.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's unfortunate in that sometimes these guys, when the lights are not the brightest anymore, what are you going to do with your life? And especially with all those bumps that he took and potentially family history of that going on. And there's legendary stories. These wrestlers, man, when they're on the road, they hit these bars hard. And sometimes it's hard to turn that off, the party and the lifestyle and things like that, because really it's a lonely life. It's tough. You work, you grind, you try to politic your way to the top, and then it ends. And some people it ends on their terms, some people it doesn't. But you got to deal with that pain and you got to deal with other life stuff. And when you have issues of abuse, it's always tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good luck to him.
Yeah, and then you've already mentioned it. In a recent interview on Lillian Garcia's podcast, Seth Rollins admits that the crowd at Extreme Rules really messed with Dolph Ziggler's head, kind of threw him off a little bit. That's why the match wasn't as crisp and clean. And if you go back, and I have it on my Twitter account, you'd have to scroll through to find it. But there's a point there where they're talking about the clock being taken off and how it was better when it was on, and now that it's off, the fans are really riled up. So it really threw Dolph off, and that's like you said, that's how fans hijack matches, and sometimes it's worse. You know, I know the fans are having a good time, but sometimes it makes for a bad product. And at Extreme Rules, it wasn't a great product to begin with, and that kind of made it worse.
And some victims of that have been Jinder Mahal, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I mean, you go back to WrestleMania 20 when him and Goldberg fought. Holy cow! They booed that match out of the arena. I mean, Madison Square Garden, big event. WrestleMania 20. Everybody knew that Goldberg basically was going to leave. Brock Lesnar was on his way out, and they hated that match.
It was horrible.
It was one of those horrible matches.
Horrible.
Yeah,
it wasn't good. So that's all I got for news and notes. Like I said, I lied. I said I had a lot. I had a little.
No, it's good. Very good stuff. You picking it all at NXT?
Not, so I'm keeping track on different things.
Okay.
So, I'm a huge fan of EC3. So I'm following what he's doing pretty closely. I haven't really stopped and watched like a whole episode of NXT.
Okay.
It's just, I find it hard. And I'll be honest with you, I'm really invested in whatever New Japan does.
Yep.
So whenever I can catch something that New Japan does, that tends to take up more of my time and more of my attention span than anything else WWE. We talk Raw, SmackDown because Raw and SmackDown are the big
biggest
ones.
Exactly.
So I do keep tabs on certain guys in NXT.
Congrats to our friends at the Breaking Down the Ring podcast. You can follow them at BDRcast. You showed up on one of their shows. Awesome stuff, sir. They do a great amount of work. The most inappropriate wrestling podcast at BDRcast. Mikey and the crew, they definitely break down wrestling on the Podcast Detroit Network every single Wednesday around 9:15. They go live. You can call in and banter. Great stuff there. You can follow Dennis Farrell at Dennis77 Farrell, the Wrestling Perspective Podcast. Go visit WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. Top 50 podcast in all of sports on iTunes. Great stuff. He's working with Petey Williams. He's got podcasts with James Ellsworth, and Dennis is kind of weaseling his way into some of these events. Showed up at Impact Slammiversary.
He was at Slammiversary, rubbing Petey down.
Exactly. So
getting them all tanned up.
Dennis is in the know. He's getting the interviews.
That's a guy who has access to everything that you want to be at.
Big time.
And can let you in on what's going on in the industry. You need to check out that podcast.
Top 50 podcast, WrestlingPerspective.com. Friend of the podcast. If Doc and Jock ever get into the wrestling ring, there's only going to be one valet, and it's going to be Dennis Farrell.
That's
you
right.
know this.
The godfather of our podcast.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, making our podcast as successful as possible. Follow us. If you hate our takes on wrestling, if you love what we're talking about, if you're a fan, definitely message us anytime. We read everything at Detroit Podcast. Visit our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We out.